Women don't need to know their attacker to be in danger. One woman was killed by someone she trusted. Others were violently attacked, randomly, and some by the same stranger. Different stories, one terrifying truth. Today we're going to be looking at multiple cases of women that should have never been attacked.
It's a heartbreaking story out of Charlotte. On August 22, 2025, 23-year-old Irina Zarutska, a Ukrainian refugee who had just finished her shift at a pizzeria, boarded the city's Lynx Blue Line train. Surveillance video shows her quietly scrolling through her phone when suddenly the man sitting behind her, 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr., pulled out a knife and stabbed her multiple times, fatally striking her neck. She died on the spot. What makes this case even more shocking is Brown's history. He wasn't a first-time offender. He had a long rap sheet going back more than a decade, including felony breaking and entering, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and several arrests since his 2020 release from prison. Earlier this year, he was even picked up for making threats and abusing 911. Despite that, he was back on the streets. Now people are asking tough questions about transit safety, mental health, and why someone with that record was free at all. DeCarlos Brown Jr. is sitting in Mecklenburg County Jail without bond after being charged with the first-degree murder of the 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee. On top of state charges, federal prosecutors have stepped in, accusing him of committing a deadly act on a mass transit system, a charge that could land him life in prison or even the penalty.
The Ukrainian girl who was stabbed on the Charlotte train by this animal who was released 13 times back on the street, even if his own mother was complaining that he had issues. I want to talk about a bigger problem in which there were all these people around her and not one of them for several minutes there to do anything about this. Not even react, not even move from where they were standing. Again, this is something that has shaken me a lot. She is in fetal position. She had already been stabbed. The murderer had already walked around the train. You can see the spots of blood right here on the floor. I don't want to zoom in that much. In slow motion, noticing that she was already losing consciousness, because that's the thing. When you see the video, it's so fast, but she basically slowly bled to death. And you can see that nobody was around her. The people were sitting next to her, being direct witnesses to what just happened. And she begins rolling, and she rolls into the space between this separation and her seat. This is my problem. You see these guys that are literally on the other side of the door, and they literally saw her. They saw what happened. They saw the guy just walking. The guy had already left. But some people are saying, oh, they were terrified for this guy with the knife. The guy had already left, had walked to the front of the train, dripping blood from his hand. They were just there like sitting, like that is none of my business, doing nothing. What you're about to see is rather graphic. There's a lot of blood in here. They stand up, they give their back to her. He's right there. There are like 3 or 4 guys in there just talking casually, doing nothing. They don't run. They don't even run. Maybe they are cowards and they run away or something. No, they just stand there. But what looks like black ink is not black ink. And they're still there. And there's still people around her doing nothing. We have on video, this is the other side. This is the guy, you see? This is the guy who was sitting with his cell phone in his hands. This is the guy with shorts. He looked on her direction. And this also looked in her direction, and they did nothing. The guy with the was already gone. You can say that he was not a threat anymore. I want somebody to explain to me, how can we arrive at a society in which people have no reaction watching this happen. Precisely since there was no longer a threat, that's the reason they were just standing there. But what about the people who have absolutely no movement, have no reaction, have no humanity? And this is not one, this is several of them, through several minutes, standing right next to her while she is bleeding to death. I want to believe that this tragedy is going to change something.
On a warm June afternoon in 2022, the quiet Illinois town of Alton was shaken by a discovery that seemed ripped from a nightmare. Inside a small apartment, police found the body of 22-year-old Lisa Dodd, a young woman who was 8 months pregnant and days away from celebrating her baby shower. She should have been arranging tiny clothes and baby bottles. Instead, her life and her child's had been violently stolen. The scene was gruesome. Lisa's body lay decapitated, her head missing. It was later found discarded in a dumpster not far from her home. Detectives described it as one of the most disturbing crime scenes they had ever witnessed.
The Alton Police Department did respond to a residence in the 3400 block of Boulevard Street in reference to a possible homicide. What was observed, what was learned, what was found is absolutely terrible. Every murder is absolutely terrible. We'll never take that away. But what happened to 22-year-old Lisa Dodd, who had just moved to this place in Alton, is beyond irreprehensible. It's abominable. It is completely terrible what happened to her.
Huge heart. I mean, whether it was people to animals to anything. She just wanted to spread love everywhere.
She says her sister was excited about starting a new chapter in her life. Lisa moved into a new apartment in Alton. She was due to have a baby girl.
Because it was going to be her first. She had a couple names picked out. She had so many clothes already and just so much stuff for the baby. And she was ready.
The expectant mom was also looking forward to celebrating her 23rd birthday and eventually entering the medical field.
She was destined for great things.
But police say on June 9th, Dodd's dreams tragically dashed. Investigators say Lisa's mom went to check on her and found her daughter dead inside her apartment.
It's rough. It's taken a toll on all of us. I don't know how to handle this.
Honest feelings.
That's the justice I want for Lisa. It's her to be remembered as who she was. In a positive note.
From a heartbroken sister who can't stop crying.
I should be able right now to just pick up the phone and call her. I just miss her.
The man responsible was quickly identified. Dendrea S. Holloway Jr., 25, Lisa's on-again, off-again boyfriend of 2 years. Their relationship had long been turbulent, punctuated by arguments and breakups. Though Lisa was expecting a child, Holloway was not the father. Police say that when their relationship soured once more, Holloway's violence escalated beyond comprehension. Holloway was arrested and charged with multiple felonies: first-degree murder, intentional homicide of an unborn child, dismemberment of a human body, and concealment of a homicidal death. The brutality of the crime rattled the community, and even seasoned officers admitted the details haunted them.
But what that monster was charged with today, about what she went through, can make some people just completely lost for words. That monster, that savage monster, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of intentional homicide of an unborn child, dismembering a human body. I'll say that again. Dismembering a human body, offenses relating to motor vehicles, and concealment of a homicidal death. She was savagely killed. She was decapitated by a freaking savage monster.
She was just a loving soul, just a beautiful soul, a beautiful smile.
That's Heidi Knoll describing her 22-year-old daughter, Lisa Dodd.
She had attended college and was planning on going into the medical field.
A bright soul planning out her life and the life of her first child, a baby girl.
I had just sent out invitations the prior Saturday for the baby shower. We were just excited and kind of gathering the items you need to have a baby.
But last week, Knoll discovered the unimaginable when she found Dodd inside her home decapitated.
It's not something I wish on anybody. I made contact with her every day to check in. So there was quite a time span that she hadn't responded to me, and so that's what prompted me to go check on her.
Knoll says she doesn't want her daughter's memory to be the way in which she was killed. Instead, how much she has touched the community with her kindness.
And I just wish she would have known how loved she was. You know, that she wouldn't have ever been alone, that she could have gotten out of this relationship and had a full life.
As the case moved through court, Holloway's mental state became a central issue. In early 2023, he was declared unfit to stand trial and committed to a state mental health facility. Months later, doctors deemed him competent, and the trial proceeded. By late 2024, Holloway admitted his guilt in court, a decision that spared Lisa's family the torment of a long and painful trial. On January 17, 2025, he was sentenced to 60 years in prison, 30 years for Lisa, and another 30 for the death of her unborn baby. Legal limitations in Illinois prevented prosecutors from seeking a life sentence, despite the shocking nature of the crime.
The Madison County State Attorney said in a statement, "For the family and loved ones of Lisa, these types of issues have caused continued angst and uncertainty. This guilty conviction ends that. Our hope is that this conviction and sentence provide the family and loved ones some assurance and will be a step toward healing."
At sentencing, Lisa's mother, Heidi Knoll, faced her daughter's care. In a voice heavy with grief, she described the loss of not only her only child, but also the grandchild she had been eagerly awaiting. She spoke of birthdays, milestones, and memories that would never be made. Her words filling the courtroom with a silence almost as heavy as the crime itself. The community rallied in small ways. A GoFundMe raised nearly $16,000 for the family, but no amount of money could ease the pain of what had been lost. The Holloway Dodd case remains one of the most chilling murders in recent Illinois history. It is remembered not only for its sheer brutality, but also for the cruel timing, snuffing out the life of a young woman and her unborn child on the cusp of new beginnings.
A North Suburban mom of 11, Kathleen Miles, is speaking out after becoming the latest victim of a random downtown Chicago attack.
Hit me with such force.
She was walking near Union Station on August 19th when a man suddenly appeared, shoved her colleague aside, and punched her in the face.
I woke up and my coworker was standing above me saying, "You're okay. We're in the hospital. You've been assaulted."
She then passed out again.
The next thing I remember is my daughter, Deanna, saying, "Hi, Mama. I'm here. You're okay."
The blow left her with a broken temporal bone, a fractured orbital bone, and a displaced nose. Shaken but determined, she says, "It's not okay, and I'm going to stand up and speak to make sure this doesn't happen to someone else."
And while she doesn't remember what happened, a colleague who was walking with her at the time told her this.
She had said this man came in between the two of us, shoved us apart, and then hit me in the face.
That punch left Miles with several broken bones in her face, as well as a concussion.
The man accused is 32-year-old William Livingston, someone with a long, troubling history. Since 2014, he's been arrested more than a dozen times for assault, burglary, robbery, and multiple attacks on women. In fact, in 2022, he was sentenced to 5 years for 2 assaults, but walked free the next year thanks to jail credit.
According to police, she was assaulted by 32-year-old William Livingston. A record search produced 13 mugshots of Livingston going back to 2012. A large number of those arrests for aggravated assault and battery of both women and police officers, something Miles found out after the fact. According to online records, Livingston's history of random acts of violence against women goes back 8 years. In 2017, he was accused of randomly attacking 2 women months apart. Both cases were dropped. In 2022, Livingston was sentenced to 5 years in prison after prosecutors said he punched and attempted to rob 4 women within 20 minutes in the Loop.
Wabash in the Loop, where DePaul University student Cammie Bleschmidt was attacked Tuesday afternoon.
It's just a scary thing, like you never think it's going to happen to you.
The 25-year-old was waiting for a lift when she says a man came up from behind and tried reaching into her pockets.
I just turned my head and he just directly was right there and just punched me in the face.
The man kept walking, never saying a word. Pictures taken shortly after the attack shows the injuries to her lip.
I fell to the ground and was crying and just kind of in shock. Another girl who got punched, she came and she helped me and she's like, I just got punched too.
That other victim was Columbia College student Corrali Majira.
I actually follow him because I didn't want him to just walk away.
Police ended up arresting 28-year-old William Livingston and charged him with multiple felonies.
Just 14 months later, in 2023, while on parole, Livingston was arrested for hitting a woman in the face on North Michigan Avenue. And in 2024, he was sentenced to 100 days in prison after punching a 15-year-old girl, also on North Michigan Avenue.
About this far from me and punched me, and then kept walking north up the street.
Kerr says she suffered a neck injury and concussion.
It really hurt. I remember sitting in the emergency room and just crying because it hurt so bad. And I was still so scared.
She hoped to hear from Chicago police about an arrest, but months went by. And then last week she saw her accused attacker's face again, all over the news for another attack.
I saw his picture on the TV. And I had been fine, and then I just started crying because it was really unexpected to see him on the TV.
He has not been charged in her case, even though she picked him out of a lineup, and it was before you.
That is appalling to me.
Both women now share the same concerning questions.
Why isn't the system keeping this guy off the streets? Why do I have to be in this neighborhood and be afraid?
It makes me wonder that because there's no consequence for any of this type of behavior, that now it is getting bigger and worse.
Now he's facing 3 new counts of aggravated battery. Miles hopes her story pushes people to pay attention not just to her case, but to the larger problem of repeat offenders slipping through the cracks.
What is enough? What does someone have to do where they're going to be held accountable? I'm not going to let someone speak for me. I need to speak for myself. I need to say something. If I say nothing and he does this to another person, I'm going to feel bad.
Another horrendous attack on an innocent woman by a repeat offender. On September 6, 2025, Dr. Julie Gard-Schnuella, a beloved 59-year-old retired veterinary professor at Auburn University, was walking her dog in Kiesel Park when she was ambushed, dragged into the woods, and fatally stabbed. Her loyal pup was found nearby, unharmed. The next day, police arrested Harold Rashad Dabney III, 28, and charged him with 2 counts of capital murder, one tied to an alleged kidnapping, the other to robbery, since he also stole Schnuella's red Ford F-150 truck. Authorities say he must now face the consequences. Prosecutors are pursuing the death penalty. Schnuella had retired in 2021 after years teaching large animal medicine and continued to contribute to the field thereafter. The Auburn community is reeling from the loss, placing flowers at the park entrance and sharing heartfelt memories of her warmth and strength.
To die so suddenly and violently in the middle of the day while walking her dog is a tough pill to swallow.
Life stops. Time stops. There's no way to understand this kind of loss.
Seeing Dr. Chanelli at Kiesel Park wasn't uncommon. Those who knew her say she was active and full of life.
She has been going to run at Kiesel for the entire time I've known her.
Her energy, her love for students. She loved veterinary medicine. She was a cow girl. She mostly worked on cows.
The park is now reopened with a small change: flowers.
We are tired of seeing repeat offenders set loose on the public. All of this could have been prevented. We think soft on crime is not working, and the judges that are letting these people out should be held responsible. These weren't isolated moments. They're warnings. About trust, about chance, about how quickly life can change. What do you think could have prevented these situations? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about what needs to change. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.